Cuban music is predicated on the tumbadora. You were originally there to play the stick pattern that fits in between this pattern. It is not pop music where drum set goes and then this is sweetening. The other way around. This is the meat and potatoes. This is the sweetening. So you play inside. If you can't hear the conga player, you are wrong. You are wrong. You are underneath. And the hardest thing that I had to teach Dave Garibaldi when we started talking drums was, it's not American music. You have to bring your dynamic level down so that we're at the same, we should sound like one person. You can't tell if the conga drums are set up inside my drum set or my drum set is set up inside the conga drums. It should be one unity of sound. So that snare drum, you may hit an occasional accent, but boom, you're right back. This is not songo. Don't do that. All right, yeah.
I was just going to say, I have seen some, like Steve Barrios use a lot of snare drum, but he's just not playing it as loud as you were.
Yeah.
Doing a lot more
Yes.
subtle, but it's like, I've seen him do it with all snare drum, but it's just a lot more subtle.
Well, or look, here. Now watch. But that's different than I read it in the book, man. You can talk, but let me give you a related example in the sense that, can anybody tell me, how can you tell when you're listening to a recording of a Brazilian tune whether it's an American drummer or a Brazilian drummer? Yeah?
If I listen,
Yeah.
if I can tell,
Yeah.
yeah.
How?
I can tell seeing live bands and by records because they most of the American drummers, they think that when they say Brazilian, they think it's jazz, Brazilian.
Right.
So they don't give too much accents or it's too much cymbal and.
Right. Okay. Too much cymbal. By the way, my favorite drummer in all of Cuba, I'm sorry for interrupting you, it's for me. No cymbals of any kind. Cymbals wash. Afro-Cuban music is tight percussion. You don't need cymbals to play Cuban dance music. Now, to play Latin jazz, you need cymbals. Because now you want a more open sound. But in a straight up Cuban dance band, I use my hi-hat, and that's it. When I play Latin jazz, that's a whole other story. Now I want my variety of cymbals. You know, I want the different textures that the ride and different crashes will give me. Because now I'm supporting a horn solo, etc. But in Cuban dance music, everything needs to be James Brown. Think James Brown. How often does James Brown's drummer play a ride cymbal?
Only on a drum solo.
That's right. Have you ever seen JB's drummer play rides? Because it takes the funk out of it. It washes it out. What you want is tight. Now back to Brazil. Even aside from the feel, you know, where Americans are always and it's fast, almost fast. But the other thing is, because Americans, we come from jazz, we play this. The whole thing, snare, 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 snare. Listen to a Brazilian. tight, tight, imitating the little tambourine. You're imitating that sound. Whoops. Sorry, it's been a long time since I played a drum set. But the minute you start chattering away on a snare drum, it's like, I'm not saying Brazilians don't use the snare, but most of the time the snare is for the fill, or if you're playing a straight batucada. Fine, but when you're playing a tune, and all this raggedy, raggedy, bang, 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 it's like, that's an American. It is. Tight, tight, tight. Get all these sounds. You don't need all this wishy-washy, blang, blang stuff. All right. Other questions? Any questions? Yes, sir.
When you were doing the rumba, you put it in the bongo?
Yeah.
And that reminded me when it kind of sounded like a wawanko. So
Sure.
how close is the rumba and the wawanko?
They are the same thing. Okay. There are 3 styles of rumba. By the way, R-U-M-B-A, not R-H. Rumba, we'll leave that to Desi Arnaz. Rumba, R-U-M-B-A, 3 styles. Yambu, Wawanko, Columbia. They are different styles. They have different, you sing them differently, you dance them very differently, and you play them differently. The one that we're most familiar with is Wawanko. And that's the one that we tend to hear the most. The Columbia is a whole nother bag of tricks that we will not go into. But rumba is the generic word for those 3 forms. Yambu, Wawanko, Columbia. So what I played was, in fact, Wawanko. Yeah.
Could you maybe touch for a minute? Maybe I've heard it a lot, but I've never really seen anybody do it or know how it's done as the rumbata, or they're mixing it up.
You mean bata rumba?
Bata rumba.
Well,
yeah.
bata rumba is, I can't do it by myself because
Right.
bata rumba usually implies like 6 people.
Okay.
And all that it is, I mean, we could create one on the spot very easily. All it is you take, some guys do this, and then the original bata rumbas weren't even the traditional bata parts.
Right.
Just, we like the sound of this drum, make up a part that's not in the way. And then we'll go, when the song goes to here, we'll have all the congas stop and the bata will play a traditional, like, cha-cha-like-a-foom traditional kind of part. And then when the song goes back over, the bata will stop and just the rumberos will play. It's just an invention, which actually leads me to some very crass commercialism. But because I do want to hawk 2 CDs tonight, A, because I'm very proud of them, and B, because my kid has to go to college. This is my CD. It is called Bataketu, and it is instead of Bata Rumba, it's Candomblé from Brazil. It's Brazil and Cuba put together. And Mike has some of them for sale here in the back, and if he runs out, I have plenty more here. Do
What's
not
the
be
instrumentation
shy.
on that, Michael? Is it just pure drumming, or is there...
It's all drumming and singing.
Okay.
It's pure folkloric, but it's all. I have the Brazilians singing over Cuban rhythms. I got Cubans singing over Brazilian rhythms. I got them combined. I got them sambata. I got, you name it. It's all going on. But it relates directly to your question. You just take what's around you and you go for it. And I am very proud of this. I think this is really great. One sec. I've finished my shameless crass commercialism. This is a CD of my bata teacher from Cuba that I produced. The money goes to him. And if you're interested in bata drumming, this is the Bible.
Is he
Pardon me?
in Cuba still?
Yeah, although he happens to actually at this moment be in Los Angeles, California, because he has a 6-month visa to come here and teach. But yeah, this was recorded in Canada when we did a workshop in Canada, and we happened to be near a recording studio, so I went for it. So I'm trying to recoup my money and make him some money. So these 2 are both for sale, and they're both for $15. They make great Christmas gifts and Easter gifts, and so. All right, enough of that. Other questions? What?
What?
2 minutes of the big science project, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we did enough of that.
How much
They're 15 each. because it's late and people want to go. I want
Or
to
just maybe a real quick, because you didn't really do any moving or singing. Maybe just a little
You'll sell
guaguancó
more
with
CDs.
You sell more CDs.
All right, what do you want me to do?
A rumba with some singing.
By myself?
Yeah.
What for?
Well, I'll join in with
We
you.
all know this.
Or the signs.
Maybe some people haven't heard of that.
All right, I'll tell you what. Since it's a drum thing, I'll play you Meta for Chango on my science project. Meta for Chango, just so you know, the Okonkwo part goes like this. And then there's a whole road of conversations that take place between the Iya. But I need to grab that stool because it's really high. That is played between the Iya and the Itotole. And it's hard. So this is a chance for me to practice it more than anything else. Now, against that dinky bak, glinky bak, the Itotole plays. This is the downbeat. Before I smash my hand on that.